Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. In the last year of 2019, international world shocked by a virus that called corona. There are a lot of views of this virus which firstly happened in China, then spread to almost every countries in the world. Then we know that this pandemic also happened to our country, Indonesia, in the 1st March 2020 that directly announced by the president. Then the data shows if the spread of this virus in Indonesia is getting higher day by day. So, what should Indonesian action to handling this coronavirus? Is it national lockdown like several countries which applied it because considered as an effective way? However, to answer this question, in this special occasion, I'm going to deliver my speech about Indonesia is not ready to implement national lockdown in handling this corona outbreak. To start the explanation, I'll have the discussion point. First, I'll discuss about is Indonesia ready to implement a total national lockdown? And the second, why Indonesia is not ready to implement national lockdown? And the third, I'll also discuss about how the government takes policy in dealing with the coronavirus today. Then finally, I'll summarize my speech. Yeah, as we know, in the beginning of the entry of coronavirus to Indonesia, there were many views from many groups which give a lot of views, such as experts, scientists, and also citizens to what should be done by Indonesia in order to minimize the unexpected thing happen. Then, in handling this coronavirus, in Indonesia should be able to learn a lot from several countries that have experienced it earlier. Why? It because we know that Indonesia considered become one of the country that can be said late in experiencing this pandemic. Then lockdown is one of the way to handling this pandemic, which did by several countries because of the effectiveness in deciding the spread of the virus. But when we talk about lockdown, it means there is no activity that can be done by the whole of society except to buy something that really needed or also medical interest. Then lockdown also means looking for the region. So, do we think is it suitable if applied in Indonesia? Of course, no. Why? It's not easy for Indonesia to implement national lockdown as a way in handling this pandemic. The reason is because there are a lot of problematic reasons. Well, it's from economic sector, social condition, and also government policies side, which make it a lot of consideration. When we see several cases that happen in the reality, which become the reason why Indonesia is not ready to implement national lockdown, in one hand, we know that the diversities of society's profession in Indonesia start from formal worker, which usually have a steady income, until informal worker, such as fishermen, farmer, online driver, labor, and the other various work that hang their life depends on the income from their daily works. Therefore, when national lockdown applied in Indonesia, of course, it will really give the biggest impact for their daily income, which usually used for their daily needs. Even though we know that these problems will not be started from the government role and responsibility of their policies to guarantee the life needs of societies which needed when national lockdown applied in Indonesia. However, Indonesia is a developing country which has many differences with the developed country which considered more advanced, especially from the economically side. So here we cannot fully expect to the government to be able to fulfill all of the society needs in the lockdown condition if applied. Even though There are also analyses that say it can be done if some of government keep their salary income to help the medical needs and also for the people who are needed and losing their income in the lockdown condition that apply. Also, in the other hand, we are also cannot deny if some of Indonesian citizenship more trust to the theology thing rather than science. Even though there are many elements that have given many socialization and also education to how handling this coronavirus based on good prevention procedures. So it's really hard for Indonesia to implement national lockdown, which considered as an effective way in handling this pandemic. In conclusion, today, government has taken decision to not take national lockdown as a way in handling this coronavirus. Even though we are haven't directly hear why government do not take it as a way in handling this coronavirus, but we are can indirectly know the reason why Indonesia is not ready to implement national lockdown from the reality that happened. Then today, government has decided to only implement the PSBB or social limitation in the large scale for the several regions that consider in the dangerous condition. However, PSBB in the running considered not really effective in handling this pandemic because of PSBB is only focused on social limitation with a totally stop the activities. Therefore, to solving this problem, Indonesia actually have the other options such as region quarantine that can stop any kind of activities except something that really need, which regulate the obligation of the government responsibility to fulfill the life needs of people who are needed, because in this pandemic we are also faced to some problem of the life needs of people conditions which more difficult rather than usually. Of course, there are many pro and contra with the effectiveness of some policies that taken by the government in handling this pandemic. But hopefully everything will be okay as soon as possible. Thank you. I'm Zabieb, no, I'm Ridwan. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.